Hello friends, welcome back to the tetrahedron chemistry classes, and in today's class I am going to discuss the fifth problem based on the combined spectral studies. Okay, and the routine work which we generally do, we will calculate the index of hydrogen deficiency, and for this you have been given this molecular formula C2H4. Okay, so you have been given C2H4Br2. Okay. Now, if you want to calculate the index of hydrogen deficiency, that is HDI, formula is again same, 2N plus 2 minus M into H divided by 2. But you should remember a very important point. See, whenever you are having your nitrogen family, nitrogen, phosphorus, etc., and if you are after that you are having oxygen, sulfur, selenium, and then you are having the halogen family, that is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, etc., right? When these heteroatoms are present in the molecule, then you should actually change the method to calculate the index of hydrogen deficiency. If your molecule is having this halogen family, then you will add +1 for one halogen, +1 for one halogen, okay, to the hydrogen. Okay, that means whatever the number of the hydrogens are there, and if you are having the one halogen, then you will add +1 to it. When you have this particular system, then you have to subtract -1 for one of group member like your nitrogen or phosphorus, ठीक है, from hydrogens. You should remember, and you have see, you don't worry about this oxygen and sulfur, they will not change the particular formula of your calculating hydrogen deficiency index. Okay, so how you can calculate? 2 is there, N number of carbon atoms 2 plus 2 minus M number of hydrogen atoms which are 4, and you are having 2 bromines. So, when you are having the 2 bromine, that means you have to add +2 to hydrogens, right? So, hydrogens are 4 and you have to add +2, and this should be divided by 2, right? That means it should be 6 minus 6 divided by 2, that is equals to 0 by 2 equals to 0. That means no hydrogen deficiency index. That means your molecule cannot have a double bond and it cannot have a ring, right? And now you have to look for the possible structures. So, what are the possible structures for this for C2H4, right? First of all, you can write CH3, then you can write your CH2, okay, and then you can write Br2. Whether this is possible or not, check. No, this is not possible. Let me correct it. You can remove this from here. Okay, this is the formula, which this is the first possibility. Okay, and then your second possibility you may have, which is your CH2, single bond CH2, okay, and it is connected with the Br here, and it is connected with the Br here. Only these two structures are possible. So, this problem is quite easy, right? So, in routine what we will do, we will check the proton NMR spectrum for this one, okay, and you see this is my proton NMR spectrum, and you see this proton NMR spectrum is having only one peak, one signal, okay, for hydrogens. So, see, if you check this one, so this is a type A proton, this is a type B proton, this will give you the 2 signals, okay, but you have been given only one signal. So, this cannot be your answer, you can quickly discard it, and your correct structure is this one. How you can go for this one? Why it is having the one peak? You see here, this molecule is actually the symmetrical molecule, and it is having the plane of symmetry here. It is having the plane of symmetry, POS, plane of symmetry, or the sigma plane, whatever you want, you can call it. So these are the mirror image. Okay, so that means they are the symmetrical methylene groups, and when they are the symmetrical methylene groups, they will produce only one signal. Okay, and of course it will give you 2 proton singlet. Okay, and this is actually your 2 proton singlet. Since this carbon is connected with the bromine, which is highly electronegative, and again you see the bromine is highly electronegative, right, when compared to the carbon. Okay, right. So definitely the signal for your hydrogen would be downfield signal, and this is the characteristic of your halogens, right. When see, if it is what you can check here, your chemical shift is around 3.6 ppm, and if it was chlorine, then it would be little bit higher, and for fluorine it would be little bit higher, but for iodine it would be on the lower side due to the heavy atom effect. If you don't know the heavy atom effect, don't worry about that. I'll explain in some point of time in some other lecture, not today actually, right. So on the basis of the proton NMR only, you can actually say your correct structure is this one. But since we are solving the problem based on this, what we can do, we can check the other spectra also. This is your carbon spectrum, carbon NMR. Okay, so this is your proton. We are interested in the proton decoupled spectrum. Okay, and it is also showing only the one peak, which is somewhere around your 30 ppm. 30 ppm. Okay, which is what? Carbon connected to the Br. Right, since this is the plane of symmetry present in between them, so carbons are also equivalent, right. And if you want to check the proton coupled spectra, so in the proton coupled spectra you can see carbon is there, you can see this carbon is there and 2 hydrogens are there. So if you apply the n+1 rule, that means 2 + 1, that will equal to 3. So this is your proton coupled spectra, will give you the triplet for this particular carbon, and you can see it is giving you the triplet. This is how you can solve the problem. Okay, now coming back to the next spectrum, which is what we are. Okay, now this mass spectrum is very important for this particular problem, and I need some space for this, so I am removing this. Okay, now the characteristic property you can see here, you are having the peak at 186, 188 and 189. That means these are M+2 peaks. These are M+2 peak, which is the characteristic for your brominated compound. I have made a video on the mass spectrometry based on the these M+2 peaks. You can go and search my mass spectrometry playlist in the tetrahedron chemistry classes, right, in the YouTube. Then you can have your answer. So how we can justify all these things? So I am giving you a very bright idea here. You see, I can have the different possibilities. I can have this Br CH2 and Br. Okay, this I am having. Say here this is isotope of bromine, which is 79, and this is another isotope which is 81. Okay, and you know carbon is 12 and hydrogen is 2. That means the whole unit will contribute 14, and this will also contribute the 14. If you add all of them, okay, if you add all of them, then this will give you M/Z value of 188. Okay, and you see here you are having the peak at 188, the center one, this particular one, 188. Okay, so let me remove it. 188 peak you are having. And another possibility which you may have, say for example you are having the bromine here, then your CH2, then another CH2 you are having along with the bromine, and in the second case you may have, like, this is 79 isotope, this is also the 79 isotope, this will contribute 14, this will contribute 14. If you add all of them, then this will give you M/Z of 86, rather 186. Okay, and you are having the peak at 186. You see here 186 peak you are having. And last possibility which you may have, which is Br CH2 and Br again, and both could be your 81, right? And you know 14 is there, and you know this 14 is there, and if you add all of them, this will give you m by z of 190, and you are having the peak at 190. So, this is the quite characteristic of the brominated compound. This is the diagnostic region. Okay, you can focus on this one. Now, if you want to go in the fragmentation, then you can very easily do the fragmentation also, right? So, you are having the peak at 107 and 109. So, how you can justify the peak at 107 and 109, right? You can actually break the chlorine, break the bonds from here. Say for example, if I am breaking, say, I am cleaving this particular bond. So, this will go as radical, okay, and this will come here, and say you are removing the bromine radical from here, okay, and then what you left with? You left with CH2 Br, okay, and somehow say if it left from here, so it could be your cation, say a positively charged species. And now you see you have removed 81 from 190. So, you can write 190 and you have removed 81 from here. So, 10 minus 1 is 9, 0, 1. So, this fragment is having m by z value of 109, okay, and you are having the peak at 109 here. Okay. Similarly, if you take this particular fragment here, this 79 one, okay, so, and if you remove minus Br 79 radical from here, okay, then what you left with? You left with this particular fragment, and this fragment, you know, 79 plus 14 plus 14. So, that means total 186 you are having, and from this 186 you have removed your 79 part. So, 16 minus 9 is 7, 7 minus 7 0, 107. This is the m by z value, and you are having the peak at 107 also. Okay. So, this is quite sufficient to actually explain the mass spectrum also. There is no need to go for the fragmentation of this one, because you have very beautifully explained these three peaks. These are the diagnostic peaks in that case. Okay. And in that case, you see the IR spectrum is having not a very much importance, because in that case you see the your carbon compound is there, your carbon compound is there, which is this one, which is connected to the halogen, and carbon when connected to the halogen, actually it will give you the vibrational frequency, which is not very high, which is somewhere around the 1500 to 1600. So, you are having these peaks here, you see. Okay, right. So, there is no need to go for the IR spectrum. So, only mass spectrum and your say 13C and your proton NMR spectrum are sufficient to explain the things. So, these are the simple problems which you can explain. Okay. So, I will meet you in the next class with some other problem. Okay. Thank you very much.